Welcome to another episode of Titans of Work, a business leadership podcast. Today we're going to talk to you about how are you making money? Really? I'm your co-host, Chris Boltman, along with this guy, Josh Downey, my co-host.
Thanks, guys, for checking out episode 4 today. We want to talk to you guys briefly about what you're doing to make money as a business, as a singular owner, as a blogger, photographer, whatever business you're in, and you're thinking, okay, I think I'm generating money, but at the end of every week, I've got $7 in my account. So am I really making money? Really? I mean, that's something I felt like we wanted to touch on as a discussion for this week, and Chris is going to outline some of the topics that we're going to go over, and we're going to be very specific this week with everyone's time. I know we said 5 minutes, 5 topics or less. First couple episodes, we've been a little long, so we're going to be specific. We're trying to make this thing under 20-ish.
We're going to make it 20 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly through a little more, make your time more valued. The first topic is determining your unique selling proposition. Josh, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I love this topic. So this is what got me in the mindset of wanting to run my own business. Someone came to me one time and said, hey, what's your USP? Mm-hmm. And I said, United States Post Office. And he's like, funny. No, USP is your unique selling position. What separates you from everyone else out there, that why I would use you? And I'm like, dang, I don't know. I don't have one. He's like, well, you better find one or you're going to be like every other business out there that just barely makes it budge. Mm-hmm. So for me, in our business, my unique selling position was I saw contracting as a whole was slow. People thought that they were dishonest and just took your money and that they really didn't care about what they did. So our position in our company is we do it faster than anyone else. We give you the best type of quality that you can find, and we have it at market rate pricing. So we've kind of got a conglomerate of 3 different things, but we really wanted that to be our unique selling position. Chris, what about your, anything?
Yeah, what we focus on and what I would encourage you to do is really find your niche. You know, are you trying to focus on price? Are you trying to focus on quality? Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's service. Don't try to be the best of everything because you're going to fail at something.
Agreed.
So take a step in the right direction by picking one, owning it, knowing who your competitors are, and knowing who your competitors are not. Mm-hmm. Your competitors aren't everybody. Find the niche you're in, own it, and move forward with that.
Yep.
We're going to go to our next topic. We're going to fly through this. Our next one is funneling leads is not cake.
Right.
And by that, what we mean is, leads is a very challenging thing. We're going to talk more detail about leads, but in short, we want to motivate you that whatever you do, you need to find ways to get leads in your company.
Yeah.
You need to go out there and partner with the right companies to make it happen. You need to brainstorm internally with your team to make sure that you guys have the same goal on how you're going to accomplish those leads.
Yeah. And I think, just a quick side note is the reason I kind of formulated this topic, and I know Chris is giving me a hard time. He's like, what funnel leads, not cake. And what I want to explain to specifically on that is we get leads through our businesses all the time, right? And it's up to us to turn them into revenue dollars. And so by that, you can get a lead. Leads can come into your business all day long, but if you're not actually converting them over, then you're not doing anything. And so you have this system that's generating you referrals, word of mouth, whatever it is, and you're not being efficient with the essentially money that's coming in through your hands. Mm-hmm. And so make sure that you have something that works for you in your business. For us, it's specific. A lead comes in, we assign it directly to a sales guy. He goes out, he does the estimate, turns it over, and we either win or we don't, right? We either get the job or we don't, and that is it. That is the whole process of how we funnel our leads. They come through and win or lose. And then we go to the next one because you have to be very efficient with everybody's time.
Sure.
Even with the client. The client, prime example, lead came in yesterday. We were able to get on site the same day, close the sell down. 24 hours later, guys writing us a check. It was awesome. I mean, that's the.
So you found your unique selling proposition. Mm-hmm. You owned it. You went for it, and you saw the fruits of that very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not trying to be something that you're not.
Through, but yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Excellent.
For sure.
Kind of transitioning into that, lead funnel. What is the future of lead generation? In my industry, what we do, we're an online marketing company. The current state is having good, SEO optimization with your website, pulling up in Google, making sure people can find you, paying for advertisement, pay-per-click advertisement, Facebook ads.
Yeah.
setting a strategy on the Facebook side to make sure that you're communicating what you're doing with your business, what your goals are. Not just being too salesy, but having a range of strategies. So when you're communicating to potential clients, you're doing that in a way that doesn't come across as you're beating them over the head with a hammer, just trying to get their business. So that's where we are right now. But what is the future? The future is going to be more of that.
Yeah.
SEO, PPC, lead generation is all from investing your time and energy, strategizing with a marketing team, and making sure that you understand who you are, what you are, and tying that in with a budget to meet prospects and potential customers that will be right for you.
Yeah.
And to do that is one thing, but to strategize behind that, to make sure that you have the proper game plan, the proper strategy. So every dollar that you spend is a dollar well spent.
Yeah.
So if you're spending $100 to convert one client and $1 to convert 100 clients, it's a no-brainer on which one is the right method, right?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
And so having that strategy and setting that, now your internal team might not have the know-how for that.
Yeah.
Get somebody who does. Partner with a marketing company that does.
Yeah, and Chris, real quick, I just for everybody out there in the audience, this is something that I didn't do for the first 2.5 years of my entire existence, my company. I solely focused on one revenue stream that I did really well, and that's all I did was, again, go back to Thumbtack. I reference that a lot because it's what I've done. But for everybody listening out there, it's so imperative to do those things that you're talking about, the pay-per-click, the SEO, the organic, getting into that front of that Google page. As a business owner of somebody that has a website or a large business that's seems like they're just wasting dollars, walk us through what you think is quickly what you think is what someone should be spending a month for $100,000 business. So if you're generating $100,000, what should you actively be spending as a marketing budget? And then to the big guys, is there a number? Is there a magical number for the people that are listening? I'm just I'm putting myself in their shoes, saying, well, what should I be spending? Because I didn't spend anything up until 3 months ago, but now I am spending money and I'm seeing the fruits of that labor and I love it. But until somebody brought it to my attention like you're doing today, I had no clue. I didn't have a number associated. I just always thought it was so expensive and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and we didn't plan this question beforehand, so I didn't know I was going to get this question. But to answer that, it really depends on a multitude of things. It depends on the industry that you're in. It depends on the geographical area that you're in,
location,
and it'll depend on what your budget is. So it's a combination of all those things. There's never going to be a magic number that says if you spend $10,000 or $1,000 or $100,000, you're going to get this. If any company guarantees leads, they're probably not the right company for you because you can't guarantee leads. You want to know why? Because it's a competitive market and you're constantly competing against other marketing teams or marketers that have budgets in a particular area.
Oh, that's good.
So if you are in an area, let's use Jacksonville, for example, and you are a realtor and you are trying to focus on getting more leads for your business. Well, it's not just how much money you put in, it's also in combination of how many other people in your area are marketing in that space. And then from a more finite perspective, how drilling down, how many houses in a particular subregion of Jacksonville is somebody looking for?
Wow, so there's a lot to it.
So there's a lot to it. So to summarize all of that, if you move forward with marketing, it's very important that the person running your marketing campaign looks at your marketing budget and sets a plan based on pre-done research in that area and what your goals are. So it's never going to be the same. We would basically say, hey, what are your goals?
Yeah.
Here's some research behind it. Here's some recommended spending for that area that you want.
I mean, can you get stuff done for $500? I mean, is $500 going to make a dent, or am I wasting my time? I mean,
done right, every dollar spent is a dollar well spent.
Really? Okay.
If done right.
So that's good to know. I mean, for people out there that are thinking, hey, I am just waiting for that phone to ring, right? We've all been there in business where when's the next lead coming in? When's that next job coming from, if you flower shop to a photographer to web or construction, you're thinking, when's that next lead coming in? But if you're actually actively spending money and you're seeing results, I think that's one way that you have to really consider for yourself.
Yeah, and if you're a business and you have questions on lead generation, maybe Josh can answer, or maybe strategy and research that I can answer, we'd love to hear your comments. Or if you're a marketer yourself, post in the comments below. If you have any additional thoughts, we'd love to hear
Definitely.
The next one, kind of diving into it, numbers. Numbers are always an important thing when you make money, right?
Yeah.
we want to talk about the numbers for a second. So the topic of this podcast is, how do you make money? Really? Well, it really comes down to the numbers. So when we talk about numbers, Josh, there's a lot of different numbers we can throw out that might sound impressive to our friends or maybe the people watching this podcast. What are some numbers that you find valuable that you might not have in the past that you focus on now?
Let me impress you guys a little bit real quick. So within 2 years, we've gone from a company that started with $50 in the bank account, and we did $2.3 million in sales in our first year, and we just closed just under $5 million in our second year. Well, if you just heard me say that, you probably think, wow, Josh is rolling, he's killing it. They're doing big things. He's extremely rich. Well, 2.3 our first year, we actually made more money than the 5 million. Why? Because of growth. Overhead. We bought a building. We bought trucks. We bought things on the road that cost us that we had to take away from our profits in order to continue that growth pattern. So just because someone says, hey, we did $1 million this year, does not mean that they netted $1 million, that they brought home $1 million. There's so many other things that are associated with that. And I sometimes get caught up in that myself. And what I want to do here is specifically talk about the numbers, know them specifically when you're talking about what's your cost per acquisition. You know what I mean? From every business out there, you should always know those numbers. And for me, again, gonna type on Thumbtack. Thumbtack, for every lead that I've got, it cost me $18. $18, and I've generated over $3 million worth of sales per $18 lead. So for me, that's a win, right? Home Advisor, same exact thing. I've only been on them for I want to say 30, 45 days now. And specifically, they're a little bit larger of a platform. So I'm $82 per lead, and I've generated almost $3 million from them in 1 month. Now, again, that's 2 divisions, Jacksonville and Orlando. All of those numbers sound great. Sounds like we're killing it. Again, but what's the net? So knowing those numbers and working yourself down into a position of, okay, this is what I sold it for. These are my costs. These are my expenses. You guys have to know those numbers, and you have to know them when someone asks you right away, hey, do you know how much that costs? And if you don't, somebody in the company needs to know about it. I always put it on myself as a leader and the CEO that if someone asks me, I know exactly where all the dollars in the company are going. And I have a team around me that supply me with those numbers, because we're now getting to an operational standpoint where it's becoming a little bit too big for me to always know every single thing. I've got to understand it and know from the outside.
Yeah, and if you're not a big company like Josh's company and you're running a smaller company, know the numbers of everything. Know how many clients you have, how much revenue per client you are making. What is the profit of each client bringing in? So if you can start, when you get to a point of growth, you can look at the type of clients that you have, and you can know what is most valued. So when we go back to lead generation, we know some of the research.
Yep.
This is how it ties in. So the research is not just what's happening in the area, but who do we want to go after? But if we don't know our clients and we don't know those numbers specifically for that, and then let's break it down even more.
Yeah, you've got to know all the numbers.
If you are a project-based company, both Josh's company and my company, we're project-based, right? Whether it's a
construction
rebuilding
project
of a home or a construction project, whether it's a marketing campaign or a website for us, we have to look at the flow of a project. If an account manager's on there, you have to account for how much time they're allocating managing the project. Then you have the different stages of the project. We want to make sure that every stage is efficient. Is there a slowdown in a particular part? We need to speed that up. What part of the project is the most valuable to that? Do you need to bring resources for a specific element of the stages of your project? You have to know every stage and every step of your project, and if you don't know it inside and out, you can never grow it to the level that you want to.
Yeah, you always want to dive into that, and that's a perfect example. Is knowing exactly where you're falling short is huge. That's how you're going to always improve and get better. You don't just go from 400,000 to 2.3 to 5 million by just happenstance, right? Those are things that take time. It takes knowing the numbers and knows, I know from every single part of my company what it takes. $51,000 a month to keep the doors open. That's operational. It's, $20,000 to $30,000 a week fluctuating between contractors, subcontractors, and trade partners that come out the door every single week. So I got to know that if I don't have a minimum of 2 to 3, maybe possibly even sometimes $400,000 in the bank for a month, I might not be open next month. So you've got to always plan on that. Tracking money in, tracking money out. Again, all those numbers, when do the draws do, this and that. And so again, I'm talking specifically on what I do, but let's apply that to the audience out there and think about how it is and how it works for you. If it even comes down to the simplest form as a photographer. And I don't know why I always reference that. It's just simple and easy. But you go out there, you obviously lock down a client, and you get a deposit, and then usually get paid when all that work's done. Well, look about all the numbers. Okay, so I'm spending X amount of hours. How can I break this down into, okay, if I got a second shooter, am I quicker? Can I edit or outsource my edits and trim money there? There's always ways for you to get better in business, and that's what we're here to do, is make sure that we bring those ideas for your mind to think about it. That's all.
So to transition to that, Josh, I want to kick it back to you again, and
Okay.
we're going to talk. The last topic is gross profit percentage.
Yep.
How important is that, or is it important?
Yep. You down with GPP? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, you know me.
So that's what we hit with the tagline. I think that at the end of the day, it all comes down to the net, not the gross profit. So a lot of people, again, will go into those numbers. Hey, we did $5 million, $10 million, whatever the number is. We did all this amount of work, but well, what did you net? Oh, we don't really know. I mean, we're still we're calculating. Well, no, that's going to let you know if you're open next month or not.
Yes.
And so gross profit percentage is great. Right now, as our company, we operate at about a 29% gross profit percentage, right? Which is awesome. But when I tell you that it takes 18% of that to keep the doors open, okay, that's 10% into the net, right? We got to get that number up, because I don't want to be doing $10 million and only make $1 million. At that point, you feel like if you're running a $10 million company,
Sure.
that's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
A lot of work to make $1 million. No, so you always want to see, okay, maybe we don't need to grow into this big conglomerate company. Maybe we need to scale back and think, okay, if we scale back, we can actually make more money with less guys, less headache, less overhead.
Yeah, and so with that, one thing to focus on, I keep tying it back into the small companies as well. Of
course.
If you're making $100,000 this year, and next year you're also making $100,000, a lot of people will say, no growth.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
But if you know your clients, and going back to that last step, if you know your clients and you know the ins and outs and how to increase the efficiencies of it, and you are changing it where you were making a net profit of 20% before, and now you're making 40%, well, guess what?
That's a great one.
Guess what? You are growing.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So that's why numbers, you have to understand the numbers. You have to put it in its place and understand where they come from. So that's kind of our five steps to, how are you making money really? And we want to challenge you. There might be a lot of, other topics, other items that we can add to this list.
Yeah.
Send us a comment, send us an email, and let us know what other important factors you think is important. We had to condense this to 20 minutes or less, so we wanted to pick 5 that really meant some to us and value to us.
Yeah. And I think, again, we always try to tie into the audience. Send us an email. Again, Josh, Direct Movement Group. You can find us on the web. Chris at Boltman Media. And I really would love to hear from you guys and see how it is we can help you. I mean, I'm already helping out so many people just in the Thumbtack network because of what I've been able to do in that space. I get so many emails, and that's one reason I even started this podcast, is because I would just get inundated every day about, oh, okay, so you're on Thumbtack and you did all this. Okay, well, how can I use it? And I'm like, all right, well, talk to me. Tell me about your business. Tell me how I can help you. What is this? How are your requests look? How does your responses look? That response looks really creepy. That's probably why you didn't get any of the work. You know what I mean? All of that stuff. And that's what we're here on this podcast, is to help you guys out and let you know that we're here from the $10 business to the $20 million business. Doesn't matter what it is.
We want to hear from you. So with that being said, don't forget to check us out on our website at www.titansofwork.com, or at the bottom of the screen, you will see all of our social links pop up with our YouTube, our Facebook, and our
Instagram, Twitter.
Twitter. We got Twitter
There
too.
you go.
We're still working on all those, but we'd love to hear from you. Email us at titansofwork@gmail.com. Don't forget to sign up for updates of all of our podcasts on our website. We are very excited that you watched today, and we can't wait for another episode next week. Stay tuned. This is Boltman and Josh signing out.